I usually do not do reactions when big teams lose because I thought, yeah, what's the point? But come on, even if you're a Liverpool fan and you're listening to this, you must admit that was a pretty good game. That was a pretty good game. But we're gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to talk. You know what I mean? It gets you. If you're an Arsenal fan, any other fan, smash the likes. Because guess what? I'm buzzing. That's just made the loss of today, including with Chelsea's loss, Liverpool's loss. I don't care anymore. How about that? That is made my weekend. Yeah? Arsenal, go do the job. Make sure you win against Newcastle tomorrow. I'm sorry. I just need extra pressure. Pause. Anyways, subscribe if you're brand new. Look, Liverpool were nothing short of rubbish in the first half. We're going to have to be honest with ourselves. I'm going to try be constructive rather than shameless. I'll leave that for later on. But if we're going to keep it a buck, right? First and foremost, that Salah goal, yeah, or assist or whatever it was Chiesa's goal. But was that not a handball? Am I the only one that saw trajectory go into a different phase of play when the images were, anyways, whatever. Palace should have won that game by minimum 6-7 goals. You can't tell me any different. In the first half, should have been up by 4 or 5 goals. We're talking about Ismaili Sarr again. We're talking about Munoz. We're talking about Mateta countless times, yeah? This is, what a game. And you know what? Liverpool nearly got back into it. But I do go back to saying this, right? You can tell Isak's not 100%. We've got double overts. And then also, if you look along the lines of anybody else, right? NKETIAH's a huge miss. They really needed someone that was going to facilitate the middle or be more of a target man rather than an Isak. I've been kind of screaming that for now. And this is, you could say NKETIAH let down Liverpool there, but you got to give credit to Crystal Palace, man. Unbeaten in like 19, 20 games, something like that. And if you're a Palace fan watching this, big up yourself. I'm actually from South as well. You lot would be, technically you'd be my second or third local. Don't live there no more. But anyways, that would be it. I've got a special place in my heart for Palace, and so do a lot of other people that don't support Palace, but they support other teams like Arsenal and whatnot. But anyways, not the point. Glasner's just shaped this Palace side to be unbreakable, yeah? And just in possession alone, whatnot. But today, Liverpool didn't get away with it. I'm going to call it for what it is. Justice just being served a little bit. Because when we all say that this kind of football or kind of wins that Liverpool been getting are quite unsustainable, this is what we mean by that. But in the same breath, I just feel like Slot kind of got it wrong for me. And I don't know about anybody else, but something's not right. And it's not Van Dijk's fault. It's not really anything, I know a lot of people are going to say that Conor Bradley was nothing but short of arse and cheeks, but it's just... I don't know what to exactly call it or put my finger on it. Like, I can't pinpoint exactly what it is. But Konate, yeah, that's the biggest talking point is, what's going on with him lately? There's a lot of question marks around him. And I thought Joe Gomez was brilliant against Southampton, personally. And I look at that, things like that, and I feel like he deserves a run of games. He really does, because even though Mateta Konate could not match the physicality of Mateta more times than less. You know, when it comes to just running in behind and scanning, like Joe Gomez, I feel like would have had a lot of that under his belt. Even Kamada, I thought, was picking up too many easy positions. Bringing off McAllister was confusing. I thought, I'm not... Look, Verts created a brilliant chance. Double overts, right? They created a brilliant chance. But I look at that and I think... You brought Cody Gakpo, and he's not had the greatest of times. You brought on Verts, didn't have the greatest of times, right? But I just look at someone like Rio, right? Why did you bring him on so late? And I know he's very young. I think he's like 16 or 17 now, something like that. But as soon as he comes on, and I've been calling for Chiesa to start again, but Monts disagrees. He comes on and makes impact. You could have brought him on a lot earlier. It's little things I kind of feel like that Slot doesn't exactly read lately. And the structure of the team seems a little bit all over the gaff. And I know, look, you're still top of the league. You can afford losing one game, because you know what, Crystal Palace, credit to them. If I was a neutral and I didn't know much about football, you literally believe that I've watched two out of the 3, 4 best teams in England going at it, and they don't know that Crystal Palace is not one of the best or biggest clubs in England. You think that's a great away side trying to get a point or trying to get something at a great home side. That's how I kind of viewed it. They play good football, counter-attacking, in possession, creating chances all over and over again. It's just the final end product on both sides were a little bit lackluster. So I'm looking at that thinking, how does Slot build off of this? You know, I don't even know who you've got next. I think it might be Chelsea. They're down to bare bones. They're looking for a response. They were playing really well until the red card, of course, of Chalobah. I was watching both games, but I was pretty much more fixated on the Liverpool game because I was just so into it, right, more than the other one. But I look at that and I just feel like this has just been coming. This was coming. It's as easy as that, and you can't really put that on anything else. But I just feel like Slot got it wrong. I think the referee was really good, to be fair, today. I don't really say that about a lot of referees. But even beyond that, I think Glasner had Slot in his pockets. I don't know how Liverpool were going to respond, but he just didn't have the answers how to kind of unpick Glasner's way of or style of football, because it wasn't exactly 11 men behind the ball and then break, throughout the whole 90 minutes. But what I did like is obviously Slot was very quite proactive in his reasons to take off Conor Bradley and put Szoboszlai back at right back, right? And then all of a sudden, Liverpool go and dominate that space for a little bit. And you know what? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Probably should have leveled very easily. And then obviously you could say even Crystal Palace had another chance, a nice chance where they could have buried another goal. But I would say more time or less, I think Liverpool edged the second half more than what Palace did. Palace dominated. It was nasty. It was dark. It was very dark in the first half. But it was just one of those games where you scream, oh, you know what? Liverpool are going to get another point. But how did they build off that? I thought bringing on Curtis Jones, I think it was a little bit too early, right? And it's just, obviously, you don't know what's going to be right or wrong until the end of the game. But I just look at things like that and just think like you had a great opportunity to really run away with a league where you could have set a narrative, and, credit to Palace, but obviously Liverpool are going to want to try and win this. So yeah, but I'm over the moon with that. Like, look, anyone doesn't know, you might not be a Liverpool fan. I usually just do Liverpool when they draw or win, but I've got a bunch of United shirts. I'm a United fan. Of course I want you to lose. My team is crap, but we've got to speak on things like this. Be constructive, a little bit shameless, but you know what? There's always next week, right? Arsenal got to go do their job. If they don't against Newcastle away, which is a difficult task, which you lot have found as well, then obviously this result don't really matter too much. Then you got the likes of City sniffing up your do you know what I mean? But yeah, Mateta was brilliant. I thought Jeremy Pino was brilliant as well. Adam Wharton's just class. Gravenberch just can't do it all by himself. That's the way I'm kind of viewing things like that. Even Szoboszlai, credit to Szoboszlai, because he's been playing attacking mid. I don't think he deserved to move away from attacking mid, but you got to fit in different players, especially when Bradley was having a bit of a stinker. But where I thought Slot went kind of tactically wrong, I thought Szoboszlai should have stayed where he was. I actually, if anything, I thought Frimpong coming on the pitch kind of stretched the pitch as much as possible, where Mitchell couldn't get up as much as possible because of Frimpong's recoveries, which kind of nullified that side, meaning they were only going to attack and have more dangerous attacks down, obviously, the right-hand side, and Kirkes, again, having a miserable time. So it is what it is, really. I don't know how you lot will make out of this game. It was not easy. You can't win them all. Fair play, you must say, to Crystal Palace. They did definitely deserve the win. You're going to be frustrated, but if you're an Arsenal fan, you're buzzing. I mean, if you're a United fan, you're buzzing. If you're a City fan, you're buzzing. In general, if you're a Chelsea fan, yeah, we're going to talk about you soon. But look, man, love that. Palace, love that. I've got huge admiration for Will Hughes. Yeah. Remember, he was one that was meant to go to Liverpool back in the day. I think, where was he at? Derby County, if I remember correctly, as a youngster. But every time that man comes on the field, I just feel like he's just going to make a difference. I felt like he did make the difference as well. Some decent subs. But yeah, and then obviously Munoz, serious food. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on the game. Get your comments in, anything, shit, just anything. You just drop a comment, like the video, subscribe if you're brand new. Look, don't expect this to hit the heights, but big up the Palace, yeah?